to my surprise,
He did the mash.
he did the monster mash.
Welcome back to this already the final segment of today's Price of Business, and I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. And I tell you, it's your business to be concerned about your community, making a difference, which is something that I love the work that my contributor, Chris Kidd, here on the program does with an organization called Fanatical Change, and we're delighted to have more focus on that. They've got their big event tonight, and we're going to talk it up here this morning. By the way, Chris Kidd, you can learn more about him at chriskidd, KIDD.com, contributor when it comes to financial coaching and a lot of issues, but I love what we're doing with this. And Chris, a little more about what you do, and then introduce our guest today, who's a great one, by the way.
Well, I'm a financial coach, and basically I try to help people increase their financial IQ, so to speak, so that they can solve any kind of money problems they might have, whether it's getting out of debt or learning to build wealth so that they can have their money working for them rather than, if they're not able to work for their money so much at some point. My guest is a good friend of mine. He's a friend of the show. I know he's been on before. He's the president of Zeus Mortgage, but also president and founder of the Fanatical Change Foundation, Stephen Kaufman. So thanks for joining us this morning, Stephen.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you having me, actually.
Good to talk to you again, Stephen. Kind of give us background. What made you develop Fanatical Change? When did all that begin?
Okay, so bring yourself back to 2008. Picture it's late September, October, and you have Hurricane Ike, who just hit mass devastation throughout the city. And when that happened, I don't like telling too many people, but I didn't lose electricity, I didn't lose water, I didn't lose cable. And my wife and I were sitting around and we realized, you know what, we should really try to make a difference, try to make a difference in the world. And we called a couple of nonprofits, pretty big ones, and we wanted to make a sizable donation, something with a couple of commas in it. And this was the first time in our life that we really were going to give in a big way back to charity. And I only wanted to know three things. I wanted to know who's going to get it? Can you tell me how soon they're going to get it? And can you tell me how much of what I'm going to give you're going to keep as far as administrative costs? That's all. Pretty simple request. If you're going to give a large amount of money, it's a pretty fair request, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. If there's two commas in it, I think they should be able to do whatever you ask them to do.
I think you're right. And so I asked the question to multiple nonprofits. Again, just to repeat the questions, I just want to know, can I know who's going to get it? Can I know how fast they're going to get it? And can I know how much of what I'm going to give you're going to keep? And none of them would commit to any of those. And I was pretty disgruntled about the process, and not being involved in nonprofits and charity work at all in my life. I didn't think this was the norm, and I soon found out it was. And so myself and a few other professionals, people who have normal day jobs, guys like Chris and I, we all got together and we started the Fanatical Change Foundation with the intention of fanatically changing the way charity works, because we think it could be done differently than the prevailing model.
Yeah, very good. Chris?
Well, Stephen, share how much of our donors' donations go to the families, and also the numbers, what we have done up until this point.
Yeah, so great question. So, the three questions that I asked earlier that I think every nonprofit should have to answer is, who's going to get the money? For us, we give money to families who must be on the news a week or two before our event. So anyone who ever asks, comes to us and says, who are you going to help? We always say, we are going to help families who are, our event tonight, if you want to know who we're going to help, we're going to help families who were in the news this week and last week. If they're not in the news, we can't help them. And then the second question, which is, how soon are we going to help them? Well, as you know, Chris and Kevin, we help them within 24 hours of our event. When every time we have an event, we have one or two a year, we help families within 24 hours who were on the news for a major tragedy, like a violent crime or a tragic accident. We help them within 24 hours of hosting one of our events. And then the third question, which is the real crux of it all, is how much is the nonprofit going to keep for administrative costs? And what's so unique about the Fanatical Change Foundation is we don't keep any of it. When we receive $1, we give $1 away, and we give it away within 24 hours of hosting an event. So $1 in is $1 out for us. All the costs that are incurred are paid for people like Chris or like me or like you, Kevin, business people who want to make a difference. But all the ticket sales we do, anyone who buys a ticket to one of our events, like the event tonight, and there's only maybe about 75 to 100 left, actually. Anyone who buys a ticket to tonight's event, we will be giving it away tomorrow to somewhere between 7 and 12 Houston families who suffered a major tragedy this week or last week. And the reason why I say 7 to 12 is because we never know how much money we're going to raise until the event, and we figure that out at the end of the night.
I think it's amazing. I think it's an awesome thing. Talk a little bit about the event itself, because, it's great that ticket's going to go help, pay for the needs of these people, but they're going to have a great time. It's also an excellent networking opportunity. Talk about the event itself.
And I know we've got just a couple minutes left. If you've got time, maybe we can share one of the stories as well as for a family.
Yeah. But very abbreviated. Take a couple of minutes just to do both those things.
All right, so you come to the Diamond, you show up to Minute Maid Park, you valet park in your costume, and that's complimentary. You get out, you go into a red carpet, do the whole red carpet thing. You see, DJs and live bands. You go on the field and take a selfie in the dugout. Listen to another live band out there that's not only on the inside. You see Circus Olay type performance, a really great auction, and you have all these people of affluent people or people who want to make a difference. Because they know their entry fee is 100% donated the next day. So it's got a great philanthropic vibe to it, upbeat, very energized. We do make the party about the families because it's there to raise money for them. But it's not a sit-down dinner. It's a party. It's an event. It's a fun networking event. It's a great place to be with Houston's up and coming.
And give us one of your stories of how you helped someone.
The first family we ever helped, and I'll never forget the name Marquise Donahue. Marquise was 18 years old. He was in his apartment. He could hear someone kicking down the fence post outside of the apartment that also lined the bayou. He opened his door to see what the noise was outside. He asked the person on the other side of the fence to stop kicking. And according to an eyewitness, on the other side of the bayou, looking over at the person kicking down the fence, the person reached into their pocket and pulled out a gun and shot through the fence and killed Marquise Donahue, an 18-year-old boy standing in the front door of the apartment for no reason, and didn't even run away. He just kept walking away. A tragedy, a violent crime that happened on a Wednesday in March of 2009 after our foundation had been started. We hosted our first event on a Thursday, and we went to his family on a Friday, along with other families, to help provide for their funeral. These were a poor family who didn't have money for a headstone, a funeral, anything. And we were able to help them. And there's no other way of saying it other than saying that we almost had his funeral in the driveway of the apartment complex where we were. He was, his family was so moved because they were stressed with how are they going to be able to bury their son. It's not something parents want to think about, of course.
Sure.
And the father was devastated, tried to hold himself together the entire time, but just kept tearing up and tearing up. That's the first family we've ever helped, and we've been doing it ever since.
Awesome. Great story. All right, we got to wrap it up with that. Fanaticalchange.org, correct?
Yes, sir.
Make sure you check it out. Go right now because we're talking hours away before the event. I've been to the event before. I sponsored the event, and I love it. And I encourage you, the listener, to help it as well. All right. Thanks so much, gentlemen. And by the way, as we wrap it up, best content here can be found over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter. Have a great day and spend it right here on this station.